Did you know there's a neighborhood in central San Diego with million-dollar views, top-rated schools, and the feel of a quiet hillside retreat? Yet most people relocating here have never even heard of it? Well, Del Cerro is one of the most under-the-radar neighborhoods in San Diego, and that might be part of its charm. Because if you're looking for a place that's safe, scenic, and family-friendly, but without the La Jolla price tag or coastal crowds, this might be just exactly what you're looking for. My name is Jed, and I make honest, experience-driven videos about living in San Diego, both for people relocating here from other areas, and even for lifetime locals looking to learn more about their home city. Let's dive into Del Cerro. And real quick, if you're thinking about making the move to San Diego and want local help you can trust, my team and I specialize in helping people find the right neighborhood and property for their specific needs. We've helped over 100 people just like you find their dream home, and we'd love to help you too. Shoot me a call, text, or email anytime. My information is in the pinned comment below. And if you like videos about what it's like living in San Diego that tell it like it is, hit subscribe. We've got more great videos coming. So what is it that makes Del Cerro so special, and why don't more people know about it? In this video, I'm going to break it down. What makes Del Cerro great, what kinds of homes you'll find here, and what they cost. I'll break down the pros, the cons, and even some of the things that most people don't talk about. By the end of this video, you should have a pretty good idea as to whether or not Del Cerro is a good fit for you. Let's start with the basics, because if you're not from San Diego, Del Cerro might not even be on your radar. Del Cerro is a quiet, residential hillside community just east of Mission Valley and about a mile north of San Diego State University, just on the other side of Interstate 8. One thing you can associate with Del Cerro is some of San Diego's best views. With its hillside placement, you get these sweeping views straight over the entire city of San Diego all the way out to the coast. Many of the homes come with impressive panoramic views. If you're up the hill a little ways, on a clear day, you can see all the way from the Coronado Islands of Mexico to the south, up to San Clemente Island, over 50 miles away, as well as Mount Soledad and the Coronado Bridge and everything in between. On the north side of Del Cerro, you might even get direct views of Cowles Mountain. And in the lower areas, if you don't have a westerly view, you might have a good view right over Navajo Canyon. Over on the east side of Del Cerro by Overlake Drive, you'll get the best sunrise views right over Lake Murray. So the main way you're going to get into the neighborhood is by taking College Ave exit north from Interstate 8. College Ave is the main access road into the community, and at the intersection of College and Del Cerro Boulevard is where you're going to find most of the local amenities in the Strip Mall Community Center across from the Chevron. And while we're going to talk more about amenities both in Del Cerro and nearby in a couple minutes, I want to be sure to mention that there is a new construction project happening in this area called Cerro House in Del Cerro Boulevard, which is expected to bring over 100 residential apartments to this area. In addition to the development, there are plans to open a street-level coffee shop and restaurant, which will be a welcome addition to our local amenities. And speaking of amenities, one of the best things about Del Cerro is just how central it is. So if having quick access to everything from groceries to hospitals is important to you, Del Cerro might be a great option. But despite being so central, Del Cerro has this laid-back residential vibe. It's quiet, it's clean, you've got views, hills, wider streets than in many parts of San Diego, and most of the homes are single-family and owner-occupied. You're not going to see a ton of apartments, complexes, or short-term rentals here. It's very much a homeowner-occupied neighborhood. And although it sits just inside the east edge of San Diego city limits, it feels like you're close to everything. You're only about 5 minutes from university, about 15 minutes from downtown, 20 minutes to the beach, 20 minutes to the airport. For shopping, you have 3 different shopping malls within a 10-minute drive. You've got Fashion Valley Mall and Mission Valley Mall, both in Mission Valley. You've got Grossmont Center in La Mesa just to the east. Within a couple miles, you have other smaller market options like Trader Joe's, multiple Vons stores, Ralph's, Sprouts. For your bigger shopping trips, you've got 2 Costco's nearby, again in Mission Valley and La Mesa, and the same thing with Target. So in Del Cerro, proximity to amenities is not an issue. Almost any shopping you can need is within a 10 to 15 minute radius. Within the neighborhood, Del Cerro has its very own Windmill Farms neighborhood market, which is one of my favorite places for smaller grocery runs. It's got a great deli with a solid selection of premium meats and amazing sandwiches, and it's pretty popular for lunch during the week. And if you go check it out, I highly recommend the Lindsay Special on Dutch Crunch, easily one of the best sandwiches I've had. The place is kind of similar to a Sprouts Farmers Market with a lot of locally grown and organic options, but personally, I like it more than Sprouts. In fact, Windmill Farms was actually started and is is owned by a member of the same family who founded Sprouts, so that's kind of a cool local fact. Now, I know I mentioned the views before, but something that's kind of unique about Del Cerro compared to other neighborhoods in central San Diego is that it sits at a higher elevation relative to the surrounding areas. So in addition to the views, Del Cerro often gets clearer skies when the coast is socked in with a marine layer. You're not always above the clouds, but on many gray mornings and even full days during gray May or June gloom, the sun breaks through here even when it doesn't at the beach. Personally, I think it's the perfect balance of being inland just enough for slightly warmer temperatures and more days with sun, but not as hot as the areas a little bit further east where you have to close your windows and crank the AC all summer. Also, since we sit at a higher elevation with no mountains between Del Cerro and the coast, there's often a gentle breeze from the west that helps moderate the temperature and kind of keeps things fresh. Now let's talk about real estate. So what kinds of homes can you expect to find in Del Cerro, and how much are you actually spending to live here? Well, something to get about Del Cerro is that it has two different areas that are a little bit different in feel, style, and price. You've got Upper Del Cerro, and that's the part of the neighborhood going up the hill above College Ave and Del Cerro Boulevard. And then you have Lower Del Cerro, which is a bit flatter, and it's the area west of College Ave and south of Del Cerro Boulevard. And just FYI, that's what I call these areas. These aren't really officially called Upper or Lower Del Cerro, but they are distinctly different areas. So in the Upper Del Cerro and south backside areas going up Madra, you're mostly going to have custom homes predominantly built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And these homes in the upper area are going to be where you're going to find more of the bigger homes in Del Cerro. There's certainly some in the lower area, but this is going to be where some of the bigger custom homes are. So while the average in these areas is probably in the upper 2,000 to 3,000 square feet range, there are a lot of homes in the 4,500 and even 6,000 square foot range. And much of the time, these larger homes are built on some of the most prime view lots in the area. Now, homes on Lower Del Cerro have a little bit different vibe. This area of Del Cerro is flatter overall, which makes it great for families with young kids or anyone who prefers easier walks. There's not any crazy steep hills to worry about in this lower area. And in this area, while there are a few custom homes, it was largely built out with tract homes in the 60s and 70s. So you'll see a lot of homes here with similar styles and model matches, even though they all have their own unique look now after decades of homeowner modifications. And in this area, homes are generally going to range around 1,500 square feet on the low end to over 3,000 square feet, with a few outliers for even larger floor plans. But despite being tract homes, you aren't dealing with an HOA here. And one of my favorite things about this area is that many of the homes have really, really great floor plan designs. Many of them were even built with courtyards, which just really gives them character that you're not finding in a lot of parts of San Diego. Also in this area, you have Princess Del Cerro Park, which is a great park with a big grassy area, couple batting cages, basketball courts, picnic tables, and paved walking trails. Although this is the primary park within Del Cerro, there are several other great options just a few minutes away, such as Lake Murray or Rancho Mission Canyon Park. Now, as far as prices go, the outlier higher prices will generally be in the upper area, but overall in Del Cerro, most sales are between $1 and $2 million, with the median price of a single-family home in the lower areas of around $1,350,000, and in the upper area, a median of around $1,600,000. You might still find the occasional light fixture under $1 million, but those opportunities don't come too often. Now, since Del Cerro is the kind of neighborhood where people tend to buy and settle down for a long time, many of the homes coming on the market are outdated. So occasionally there are some great opportunities to find something that needs work and then renovate it to your own personal style and build some equity right off the bat. And there's actually a third area you should know about if you're looking at making a move to the area. And I'm talking Del Cerro Heights, which is the only gated homeowner association community in this neighborhood. And what's really great about Del Cerro Heights is it offers the best aspects of Del Cerro along with added security and privacy of being gated. If you're looking for something gated in central San Diego, Del Cerro Heights is one of the few real options. It's a secure hillside community with a mix of detached homes and twin homes. Some even have 3-car garages and even usable basements, which is something you almost never see in San Diego. In other parts of the community, there are varying sizes of detached houses ranging from 2,000 square feet up to over 6,000 square feet. And as of when I'm recording this video, you'll find prices in the Del Cerro Heights community typically start just above the $1 million mark and go up into around the $3 million range in the high end. Del Cerro Heights also has a grassy park at the top of the hill with some of the best views of San Diego you'll find anywhere. The community has a large pool, spa, saunas, and gym at the top of the hill next to the clubhouse that residents can reserve for private events with the best views of the entire city. Now let's talk about schools next, because if you're like a lot of people moving to Del Cerro in recent years, schools are important to you. And in the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of turnover from longtime residents, often in the form of a trust sale. And many times these are being bought up by younger buyers looking for a place to put down some roots and grow the family. And while areas like La Jolla, Encinitas, Poway, Carlsbad, Carmel Valley get a lot of attention for schools in the San Diego area, Del Cerro is home to some of the highest public rated schools in the San Diego Unified School District. The neighborhood feeds into Hearst and Marvin Elementary Schools, Lewis Middle School, and Patrick Henry High School, all of which are well respected and well ranked on sites like greatschools.org. Patrick Henry in particular has strong academics with solid AP programs, ton of extracurriculars, especially in the arts and athletic departments. And if you're looking for alternative options and want to go the private route, St. Trace Academy Catholic School is the only private school actually in Del Cerro neighborhood, but there are several other great options within a short drive away. Schools like Waldorf Academy and Mount Helix Academy are some options for Del Cerro residents looking for nearby, highly rated private alternatives. Next, let's talk about lifestyle and nearby amenities. One of my favorite things about Del Cerro, having lived here for going on 7 years now, is how it feels like you're kind of living in nature. Now, let's be real, we're in the city of San Diego, so I'm not trying to exaggerate here, but the cool thing about this area is how it's kind of built around the canyons and the wild areas nearby. To the west, you have Navajo Canyon, which partially surrounds the Lower Del Cerro area. And then on the east side, you have designated open green space hillside overlooking Lake Murray. Then to the north, not even 2 miles away, you have Mission Trails Regional Park, which, by the way, has over 8,000 acres of preserved natural habitat and around 65 miles of hiking trails, with some super popular trails like Cowles Mountain or more advanced ones like the Fortuna Summit trails. Great hiking trails all throughout the Mission Trails system there. But yeah, since you've got these natural areas surrounding you, even though you're in the city, you've kind of got that blended experience. Now, having said that, if you have pets, especially small dogs or outdoor cats, you should also know that there are large animals around here. It's not uncommon to see a coyote, and occasionally you might even see a bobcat. There's lots of squirrels and rabbits too, of course, snakes. And I mentioned Lake Murray, which is part of Mission Trails, and it's within walking distance or biking distance or a quick drive, and has a paved walking and biking trail around the lake. There's a boat ramp on the east side of the lake where you can even rent boats. And if you're into golfing, you've got Mission Trails Golf Course right next to the lake, which admittedly isn't winning any awards, but it's a local 18-hole golf course in your backyard. At night in the summer, you'll hear crickets chirping, poor wills calling, and you'll often have a cool, gentle breeze from the west. Now let's talk about downsides, because every neighborhood has them and Del Cerro is no exception. First, inventory is limited. Del Cerro is not a big master plan community. In fact, it's a fairly small neighborhood, both in geography and population. There are only so many homes, and many of the owners stick around in the same house for decades. Nearly all vacant lots have been developed, so new construction is virtually non-existent. So when a good home hits the market and is well priced, it tends to move fairly quickly. Also, like many tight-knit communities, it's not unheard of for properties to be sold off market. In fact, we've had clients that have come to us specifically because they know we find properties off market to help them find a home in Del Cerro. And we've helped them find and negotiate and close on a property that never even touched the MLS. So if you're not liking the options you're seeing on the market, reach out to us so we can see if there's some other alternative options that we haven't explored. Now, to be fair, tight inventory has been a common theme in most neighborhoods in San Diego, especially in the early 2020s. But on the plus side, we've seen a decent increase in active listings in inventory in recent months. So if you're looking to buy a home in Del Cerro in 2025, you do have more options now than in recent years. Now, a second downside is that it's not super walkable, at least not in the way that a master plan community in more urban areas are. Except for people who live in Del Cerro Boulevard or Lower Madra area near the small community strip center, there is no town center or a cluster of restaurants you can walk to. You're going to drive for most errands, but the flip side of that, like we discussed earlier, is nearly everything you can need is within a 10 to 15 minute drive away. Also, in parts of Upper Del Cerro, the hills can be fairly steep. Now, I'm not talking San Francisco steep here, but definitely a pitch where your heart rate will be elevated if you walk a block up the hill. Now, to be fair, this could be a pro or con depending on who you are. Del Cerro is home to several former and hopefully future Olympians and ultra athletes who will tell you that the hills might give you an edge in training. But hey, if you're not gearing up for a Leadville 100, running up Del Cerro hills might push you a little bit more than you're used to. So who actually lives in Del Cerro and what's the culture like? Well, really, it's a mix, but it leans towards families, retirees, and professionals who value peace and quiet. You'll also find a number of SDSU faculty and staff who want to be closer to campus without living near the party scene. The community is neighborly too. You're going to see a lot of Christmas and Halloween decorations, neighbors helping neighbors, and longtime residents who take pride in their homes. It's also one of the more civic-minded neighborhoods in San Diego. There's an active planning group, community events, and neighbors who really care about what gets built or doesn't get built in the area. The feel here is very suburban mixed with nature, but it's got personality, and the neighborhood is neighborly. And that matters, especially if you're relocating here and don't know anyone. So that's Del Cerro, a little under the radar, but full of charm, views, and value. If you're thinking about moving to San Diego and want help figuring out whether this neighborhood or maybe another one fits your lifestyle, reach out anytime. My team and I love helping people find their spot here. And hey, if you got value from this video, hit that like button, drop a comment if you have any input, and don't forget to subscribe for more straight up information about living in San Diego. If you spent time in Del Cerro, or if you're curious about whether it could be the right fit for you, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts or help you figure it out. I'm Jed. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.